Hello everyone, welcome to Scott Reviews Things in 4.5 minutes. And what am I looking at this time? I'm looking at the book Lon Chaney Jr. Horror Film Star, written by Don G. Smith. This was published in 1996. It's a very light read. It's a very easy read. The book is sort of a combination of biography and IMDb, and I'll explain. The author talks about Lon Chaney Jr., but it's not very deep. You don't get really, it's a sort of surface level, what he says about Lon Chaney Jr. But like all of his major movies, he goes into major descriptions of this movie. What happened in the movie, the plot, the characters, the resolution. All that is covered in this book, which is fine, but I think that should be in a book called, The Films of Lon Chaney Jr. I want to know more about the man. I want to know, that's what I want to know. How did he, they taught Lon Chaney, notorious drinker. Everybody knows that. And it is covered in, he covers it in this book, but he sort of glosses over it. He doesn't really get into what happened, how it happened. He does state that his drinking started because Lon Chaney Jr. was a latent homosexual because he didn't get the love that he needed from his father, so he was always looking love for men. Now, I am a big Lon Chaney Jr. fan. I've watched a lot of Lon Chaney Jr. documentaries. I've read a lot of stuff on Lon Chaney Jr. This is the only place where I've heard that Lon Chaney Jr. was a latent homosexual. And if anybody else has heard anything different, please leave a comment below and let me know where you saw it. Now, the book has a lot of great pictures. That's it. There is a ton of pictures in this book. And a lot of them backstage, a lot of stuff that you've never seen before, which is great. The bad thing about the pictures is that it shows the decline of Lon Chaney Jr. throughout his years. He starts off, Lon Chaney Jr. is just a virile, striking young man. And just through the years and through his drinking, he died at 67 and he looks a lot older. And he's just bloated. He lost out on a lot of roles because he just drank himself out of the roles. He got bloated. His teeth got all messed up. They got all green and weird because of all the smoking and the drinking. He wasn't taking care of himself. It's just a hard thing to go through while you're watching that. But that was his life. And like I said, how did he get from point A to point B? Why is he drinking? More stuff like that. They cover his film, horror film star. They say that his breakout role, this book points out that his breakout role was not the Wolfman. Everybody thinks it was the Wolfman. His breakout role was playing Lenny in Mice and Men. That's what got him noticed by the studios. And the studio started putting him in movies, but he still wasn't in horror movies yet. He did a lot of westerns when he first started off. He did a lot of westerns, a lot of character roles. And his first major horror movie that got him discovered was Man-Made Monster. And Universal saw him in Man-Made Monster, and he already had adopted his father's name because he was named Crittenton? I'm mispronouncing that. Crittenton, Chaney. He changed it Lon Chaney Jr. He made Man-Made Monster. Universal saw him, cast him in the Wolfman, and the rest, as you know, is history. I wanted to know more about his interaction with Bell.
Evil spell. Pentagram. Wolfbane. Oh, I'm sick of the whole thing. I'm going to get out of here.
Whoever is bitten by a werewolf and lives becomes a werewolf himself.
Oh, quit handing me that. You're just wasting your time.
The wolf bit you, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Wear this charm over your heart always.